What's the feedback you've been getting this summer from maybe Rob and his staff on how the guys have been doing?
Well, I think Rob and those guys do a tremendous job. As good as I've ever been around, and getting guys ready to play. And I don't really ask specific questions, to be honest with you, about certain individuals. If there's somebody not doing what they're supposed to do, is more what I'm looking for. If the strength staff feels like that there's something that they need to improve on, then obviously we've identified that prior to the summer.
You talked about the depth, along with the 5 that returned that started last year. I mean, and I'll be honest, I've cheated. I've gone out and watched some of the summer metabolic workouts, and Rob's really talked a lot about Marcus Keys. I know he's a young pup, but who are the guys you're hearing that are going to provide that competition in camp and push guys?
Well, yeah, just coming out of spring practice, obviously the 5 guys that played last year, and Keys and Larry Williams coming out of spring practice, those are the obvious 7 guys that we're talking about. And then the guys that have to make some mark or move or whatever it might be, or you're talking about guys that have been in the program like Johnny Wilson now for a year, Matt Muhan, Junior. Those are the next group of guys that obviously we're looking for, along with the true freshmen that are here now, which are 4 or 5 guys. So those are the next guys in line, and we'll just see what of those groups are guys that are going to step forward and play the best. Ultimately, it's about results.
As a coach, I know you got to get the line that's going to go this year ready. But when you start looking at a Matt Cagle, at a Dylan Galloway, guys like that, how much fun is it to see where they are just at the initial stage when you get them in fall camp?
Well, obviously last year was an important year for us to sign some offensive linemen, and it didn't matter really where I had to go to get them. I was going to get them, and I like the makeup of these guys to start with, and that's where it all starts with. If a kid can play as a freshman, obviously we're going to play him. If he can't, then we know that we have that year of work with him, which obviously has benefited Keys and Johnny Wilson tremendously, being in the program a year.
What are the biggest hurdles for a true freshman to play to getting that rotation year?
I just think the physicality of day in and day out and play after play, and sooner or later there's that drop where does it become mental or is it physical? And I think it's combining those two things and making sure that they could do that for 60 or 80 plays. Can they do it for 10 or 12? I hope, right from the get-go. But, if you're counting on a freshman to come in and play in the offensive line, the mentality has to be set that it has to be done for 60 to 70 to 80 plays, not 10 or 20. And so I think that's always the biggest hurdle for a true freshman offensive lineman.
The run game is a lot of things. I know you haven't seen him yet, but can a back and a back style, say a Barry J. Sanders, it's a little different. Guy that'll dance around a little bit, gets to the hole quick. Can he make a difference in the run game and help an offensive line sometimes?
Well, I think we all got to do our part, to be honest with you. And I said this, I think I said this in the springtime. I think we tried to do a little bit of too much. Tried about everything last year, different ways to run the football. I think in the spring we narrowed that focus down a little bit in terms of what we were trying to do, and hopefully you'll see some carryover from the spring to early on here in camp. Hopefully we don't have to wait around long to get the running game going. We all know that's something that we have to do better. Obviously it's a combination of everything. I mean, it's what the defense gives you too. It's the receivers blocking, it's the tight ends blocking, it's the backs running, it's everything. And so I think that's obviously been a priority for us since the season ended. And I was happy with the way we did some things there in spring practice to give you some hope that initially when we start camp that those things will continue.